In this episode, we look at how do Earth's movements affect life? Page 71 from our Social Studies workbook. The Earth is always spinning like a top. It spins around an imaginary line called its axis. The axis runs through the center of the Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole. The Earth's axis is always tilted at the same angle. The Earth makes two kinds of movements. One, Earth's rotation. The Earth rotates or spins on its axis once in 24 hours or a day. This movement is called Earth's rotation. The daily rotation of Earth causes day and night. As the Earth rotates, the part of the Earth that faces the sun is lighted and has day, while the part of the Earth away from the sun is dark and has night. The part of the Earth experiencing day gradually moves away from the sun and experiences night. It takes 1 day or 24 hours for the Earth to make a complete rotation. As the Earth rotates through 360 degrees or a full circle, all places on Earth will have day followed by night in a 24-hour period. The movement in and out of the light zone is gradual as the Earth rotates. This movement results in some places having dawn while others are having twilight, and while some places are having midday, others are having midnight. So if we look at the diagram showing Earth's rotation, we see the North Pole, we see the South Pole, we see the axis of rotation, we see the direction of rotation, an easterly direction, and we see the rays of the sun. We see the section that is darker being labeled light, and the section that is lighter in color being labeled day. Now we move to the second type of movement, Earth's revolution. The Earth moves or revolves around the sun once in 365¼ days or 1 year. This movement around the sun is called Earth's revolution. The revolution of the Earth and the tilt of the Earth's axis cause two important things to happen. One, the seasons, that is, spring, summer, autumn, and winter are experienced. And two, the length of day and night varies from place to place around the world. Now we go to page 72. The seasons. Earth's axis points towards the sun for part of the year and away from the sun for the other part of the year. The seasons are caused by the position of the Earth in relation to the sun from which Earth gets its heat. Because the axis is tilted and never changes direction, there are times when some parts of the Earth are tilted towards the sun and times when they are tilted away from the sun. For example, when the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, these places receive a great amount of light and heat and experience summer. And when the southern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, these places receive less heat and experience winter. So here we have an important diagram. NH stands for the northern hemisphere, SH for the southern hemisphere. So we start at the top. March 21st, we have the spring equinox, and it will be spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere. Then we go to June 21st, where it is summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere. We move to September 23rd, where it is autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. This is also called the autumn equinox. Then we move to December 22, where we have winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. It says, what happens on June 21st? The sun is at the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north. Places around the Tropic of Cancer receive the direct heat from the rays of the sun. The North Pole is tilted toward the sun, while the South Pole is tilted away from the sun. The Northern Hemisphere experiences summer, while the Southern Hemisphere experiences winter. The longest day and the shortest night is experienced in the Northern Hemisphere. This is the summer solstices. All places within the Arctic Circle, 66.5 degrees north, receive 24 hours of sunlight, while the places within the Antarctic Circle receive 24 hours of darkness, as the rays of the sun fall short. We move from page 72 to page 73. And here we have what happens on June 21st, and we can see it outlined here. So we have 24 hours of daylight for the Arctic Circle, and if you look to the bottom of that diagram, we have 24 hours of darkness for the Antarctic Circle. The rays of the sun are hitting the Tropic of Cancer more directly than the Tropic of Capricorn. So for the Northern Hemisphere, we have summer, and for the Southern Hemisphere, we have winter. What happens now on December 22nd? The sun is at the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south. The South Pole is tilted towards the sun, while the North Pole is tilted away from the sun. The Southern Hemisphere experiences summer, while the Northern Hemisphere experiences winter. The longest day and shortest night is experienced in the Southern Hemisphere. This is the winter solstices. The South Pole receives 6 months of sunlight, while the North Pole receives 6 months of darkness. And here we have another diagram showing what happens on December 22nd. So we have 24 hours of darkness, and then we have 24 hours of daylight. We now turn from page 73 to 74. What happens on March 21st and September 23rd? The sun is vertically overhead at the equator. All places on Earth except at the poles receive 12 hours of darkness and 12 hours of daylight on March 21st and September 23rd. Day and night, which are 12 hours long, are called equinoxes. March 21st, the Northern Hemisphere experiences the spring equinox, and the Southern Hemisphere has its autumn equinox. September 23rd, the Southern Hemisphere has its spring equinox, and the Northern Hemisphere has its autumn equinox. Note, day and night are always 12 hours long at the equator. We have a table showing duration of seasons. So in the columns, we have season, duration, days, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. 1. Spring. Spring is 93 days from March 21st to June 21st. In the Southern Hemisphere, though, spring starts at September 23rd to March 22nd. Summer is 94 days and goes from June 21st to September 22nd in the Northern Hemisphere, while it goes from December 22nd to March 21st in the Southern Hemisphere. Autumn is 90 days long and goes from September 23rd to December 22nd in the Northern Hemisphere, while in the southern hemisphere, autumn goes from March 21st to June 21st. Winter is 89 days long and goes from December 22nd to March 21st in the northern hemisphere, while in the southern hemisphere, it goes from June 21st to September 22nd. Some effects of seasons on living things. The various activities of most living things change with the seasons. Plants and animals go through different cycles of activity. These cycles are regulated by the number of daylight hours and the availability of food. People dress differently at different times of the year. Some animals, especially birds, migrate when the seasons change. In winter, when temperatures are low and food is scarce, some animals go through a period of dormancy or hibernation. When autumn arrives, the leaves of some plants change color and fall from the trees. Note: the Caribbean region lies within the tropics, and in these places there is no distinctive change in the seasons. In this unit, we looked at Earth's rotation, Earth's revolution, and we looked at the seasons. In our next unit, we will look at lines of latitude and longitude. See you then.